How's it going, everybody? They're finally letting us talk about the Outflight team on War Defense, which is super important because these guys are needed for these spotlight raids, and difficulty 2 is no laughing matter. You're going to be needing your team maybe close to like 2 million power to be getting through that difficulty 2, which everybody should be striving for because that's where your T4s are. Super important. We don't know the lifespan of the spotlight raids. We don't know if the Outflight team will be needed for the next iteration, but we do know that we need them now. Also, people like to sim their raids. You can expect to see this team even bigger than is necessary to get through it, which means we need to know how to counter it on War Defense. Because this is primarily a War Defensive team, they're going to have a very long life as to not ruin your investment for the temporary spotlight raids, however long it's going to be. It's like 200 days right now. But let's be clear. War is not like raids. It is not an extended game mode. We don't need to know the ins and outs of this kit in order to counter it until we get to like the very, very nitty gritty. And I'm not sure it's going to be possible with this team. So what I'm going to be talking about in this video is mostly how to beat it. We're going to be talking about the opening gambit from this team. And then I'm going to be showing you teams that beat it and teams that don't and why they don't. Okay. So let's start by looking at the reworks. Look, there's nothing really to worry about Wolverine and Sunfire. Huge damage comes in. We got bleeds. We got death-proof strips. Sunfire is going to be giving offense up, counter attacks. He's going to be giving defense down. And if you bring in a summoner, he's going to be giving energy every time an enemy dies. They don't have to. It doesn't have to be a summoner. Every time an enemy dies, he gives energy. So somebody like Hela, Greg dies every turn. They get energy every turn. Be careful of that. Guardian. Now, I don't know if this is a bug or this is intended. Guardian has 120 speed stat. North Star actually has 127. And then there's a nifty line in North Star's passive kit where he is going to be giving the entire team, including himself, 25% speed stat. Kind of like 25% increase in speed stat. Kind of like what Ronin does, just 5% off. I've looked everywhere else in the kits. I don't see why Guardian would be going before him with lesser speed stat, with that multiplier on it. Maybe I'm missing something, but that is important to how the counters I'm going to show work. So if that is a bug, and they change it, like for instance, maybe North Star is not going to be getting his 25% speed stat increase that he's giving himself. Maybe that's the case. I'm not sure. But that'll be important. And if that is the case, and the counter gets a little wonkier, well then the final counter we show is never going to be wonkier, and it's always going to win. That's important. Anyway, we're rambling on too long. So what does Guardian bring? Well, he's going to go turn 1. He's going to do a giant attack. He does a bunch of damage, and he applies defense down. 260% piercing damage. Sounds like it should be nothing. This guy is one-shotting at like the max level, comparative builds. He's one-shotting some of our biggest characters ever, which is kind of crazy. What does Sasquatch bring? Well, Sasquatch is bringing just standing passives. So he's going to get on-spawn taunt, defense up to his team, death roofs to his team, and then the dreaded safeguard, right? He's bringing the safeguard. This is the Infinity Watch light problem, if you will. No immunity, so it's doable, but super tough. And then North Star, well, we already talked about this. He's bringing that 25% increase to the speed stat. He's also going to be giving us evades, but what he's not going to be giving his team is something very crucial to the raids. So in raids, enemy characters cannot spawn with speed bar for themselves or allies. In raids, look, there's a Skrull in the final spotlight raid, on that final node. They want you to use Alpha Flight there on the Skrull. If you don't, you're going to get wrecked. But in War, you can use Skrull there. Is that the right move? I don't know. Check out the gameplay and let me know what you guys think. So for our first match, I figured we'd check out Superior 6 with Apocalypse. Superior 6 has kind of been a catch-all counter for a lot of the things we deal with here. And I figured, hey, Apocalypse takes a safeguard off. Superior 6 is going to get in there, mix it up. How is this going to work? It doesn't. Okay, so Guardian one-shots Doc Ock, and it's over. Yeah, it's over. People are getting destroyed. Nothing is going to save this team here, and then I got to decide, like, hey, I need a faster team. I need a much faster team, so let's go play around with some of the fastest characters in the game, including, arguably, the fastest character in the game, depending on how many buffs the enemy brings in. Alright, Superior 6, kind of a flop. Well, let's check our new Avengers. New Avengers are very interesting. They're going to have some speed up on spawn from Tigra. They're going to be getting 30% speed stat from Ronin. And hey, I'll throw in Skrull for good measure. Since Apocalypse, well, we'll talk more about Apocalypse later. Alright, so the new Avengers with the Skrull team. It's very important that the North Star passive doesn't stop Skrull in War, just in raids. So Skrull is going to be able to take 2 turns here. We're going to open up with the basic. That's going to give us safeguard, defense up. Then we're going to use the special that's going to be giving us offense up, and now our Skrull is primed to ult, right? He's ready. He's rarer to go. Tiger goes next because she does have more speed than this enemy team, which is kind of impressive because of what the enemy team gets. Mockingbird, unfortunately, she's going to get dodged across the board. Her ultimate is not unavoidable, so no turn meter rewind. Means our Skrull is not going to go before all of them. Ronan comes in. He absolutely obliterates Sasquatch. Cool. We got past the taunter, and now we can start working our way in. Coulson ultimate nearly takes out the Guardian, gets him real close. The ultimate from Northstar comes in. Our Skrull is getting energy like crazy, but we are in trouble. Those bleeds are absolutely devastating, and that's going to be a dead Ronan and a dead Mockingbird there. But Skrull is going to ult, and it tickles them. Absolutely tickles them. We're only going to be bailed out from this fight because of what Tigra does here. Her ultimate does insane damage, insane bleeds. The follow-up striker attack takes out the Guardian, and then everyone else is just going to start dying. So Tigra unfortunately goes down. Mockingbird is going to die there, and it's going to be Skrull versus 3. And this is where we really do see Skrull's issue, right? Skrull's issue is the safeguard. I can't go take out the Sunfire over there because he has safeguard, and as a raider, I'm not going to get a double tap. So then Sunfire starts popping off. Luckily, he had heal block there, so he didn't heal up, and I have a big decision to make here. Wolverine or Sunfire? I chose wrong. Should have went for Sunfire. Wolverine gets the revive, Sunfire pops off, he's going to heal up big time here, and then we're back to Skrull versus 2 at full life. Now, here's the good news. The 3 new Outflight members are kind of the scarier ones, so our Skrull will pull this one off. Not very convincing. So, new Avengers Skrull, it works. Again, this is a live war setting, so this is not war practice. The enemy team did have a 20% stat boost. I'm going to pause there because I'm going to end up backing out anyway. They did have a 20% stat boost on us. We got through it. Wasn't very convincing, though. But new Avengers were. New Avengers were pretty good. So then we got to find the way to make the new Avengers work better. Skrull's big issue is safeguard. So what's the big counter to on-spawn safeguard? So a pretty fast team is your new Avengers team. So again, this is going to be a bit of a punch-up because this is in a live war. So there is the 20% difference in stats between the offensive and the defensive here. But I figure, hey, new Avengers, they're pretty quick. They're going to be able to get Tiger Taunt up right away. We could focus the hit over to Apocalypse. That's going to give him speed bar if he gets knocked low enough. Apocalypse doesn't spawn with defense up. So there's a good chance that this could work out. So we go ahead and we try this. We get a little bit of a rewind going. That 30% speed stat from Ronan, you can't understate how valuable that could be in a lot of situations. So I'm going to use the Coulson ultimate here. I just wanted to get some of those dodges off. More than anything, I really want to just pull debuffs off, or rather buffs off, before Apocalypse does his ultimate, because I want Apocalypse to flip like pretty specific things here. So Apocalypse nearly dies. That really surprised me. Apocalypse life pool is pretty gigantic. I know a lot of people have diamonds on him and not diamonds on Guardian. So it's probably not going to happen for the most part, but maybe you won't get pushed either, depending on the size of the Guardians. That could be something to be concerned about. But when Apocalypse does go, if he flips the taunt off Sasquatch, it didn't happen every time, you can go ahead, you could yeet Northstar, you could yeet Guardian, whatever the case may be. You'll want to kill one of them instead of Sasquatch, Wolverine, or Sunfire if given the chance. But that doesn't mean the other guys are not a menace. Wolverine, with his crazy reviving, crazy damage, and like taking turns so often, can be absolutely devastating. Sunfire, he's amazing in raids, okay? In war, he's kind of the weaker link, in my opinion. He does give like offense up and counters and stuff like that. But with his opening ability, just being the ultimate, it's not as impactful. All right, so then you're going to see this is going to clean up real nice. Now, it didn't always play out like that, but for the most part, it was pretty clean. I did have a couple attempts where it was just Ronan and Apocalypse left, but I never lost. Again, this was in a live war setting, punching up-ish, 20%. But all else was equal. So, I mean, your new Avengers team is probably going to be bigger if you're an average player. Your new Avengers team is probably going to be bigger than your enemy's Alpha Flight, unless you are, like, in a Kraken Alliance. So I think that this counter, for the most part, will be safe. But, hey, pulling Apocalypse is not a bad thing. So the next thing I want to test is, like, what kind of hybrids can I make that will be able to take this Alpha Flight team out without breaking up my new Avengers? Let's go see that. Alright, so then I decided I was going to try Undying, Doom, and Dorm. This is not an uncommon team that people use at the higher end of war or in the mid-game of war. It takes a lot of interesting teams. If it takes this one out, hey, it's a one-for-one change. That exchange is pretty good, right? Well, I found something pretty interesting in this particular fight. We do get to go first. We do hit them because that's unavoidable. They all get trauma, which is cool. This will be dodged, so that doesn't matter, but it will call an attack. Greg is going to go ahead and put some bleeds out there. And then Sasquatch goes. He's going to hit the Doom, but Doom has revive. Sorry, not Sasquatch. Guardian goes. And then, boom! Game's bugged. So this happened multiple times or multiple attempts. I did already report this to developers. But hey, there's a workaround to make sure Doom doesn't die. So let's go do that. And then we can maybe extrapolate some sort of knowledge to this fight. Let's go check it out. And so I came right back in here with Undying, no Zombie Iron Man, because he was getting dodged anyway. Apocalypse and Dormammu. That was just to give the Doom extra life. You see Doom lives just by like 1 life there. And then Apocalypse got pushed, so he's then going to punch people, and it's going to pop off here. This footage, it's cool that it works, right? Like losing Doom, Dorm, Undying, Apocalypse, that's a bit too steep, but it is the newest team, so I guess it's not the end of the world. This worked 100% of the time. If your Doom dies and it bugs out the game, well, that'd be a problem. If the Apocalypse doesn't retaliate, then that'd be a problem too, because then your Dormammu would go for the ride. But we have 5 villains here, so that's not gonna happen. Apocalypse is always gonna retaliate, and then he's gonna pop off like this, and it goes really, really smooth, right? But we gotta lean this team out. We gotta make sure we're not using Doom, Dorm, and Apocalypse and Undying. That's just a bit too much. So I wanted to shave off a little bit more to make this counter a little bit more palatable even still. And so I just threw in more villains, different villains, not Undying members. So we get to keep our 3-piece Undying, but we will be using Apocalypse, Dorm, Doom, with some kind of unused villains, right? I have Archangel in here for a little bit of turn meter rewind, and I have Absurd Man in here just because he's the Preton. He's got to pull the attack from the Guardian, get that Doom push, get the Apocalypse pushed. They're all villains. It activates Apocalypse Retaliation 100% of the time. He's going to pop off. He gets stuck behind the taunt here. No big deal, right? So he's going to punch Sasquatch. Doom is going to take him for the ride now. We're going to clean up that Sasquatch. We're going to pull off a couple of these dodges by throwing the ultimate from Doom. Right, here we go. Pull up a couple of those dodges. And then we're off to the races. So we're going to be able to now, and of course the Apocalypse Retaliation did help us get the initial dodge off of Guardian to begin with. So we're going to be able to take him out no problem. And then it's a 3v5. We have Revive still. We still have Apocalypse. Like, we're looking really good here. And this is going to be a very, very clean, very auto-win counter. Now let's talk about the validity of doing this, because we're still using Doom, Dorm, Apocalypse. I think for a couple alliances that are very meticulous on the defense, this will probably be too much. You're losing Doom, you're losing Dorm, and Apocalypse all in one. Those characters, they could be on defense, they could be split into different teams. There's a lot you could do with these guys that people are currently using. But this is the newest team, right? The Alpha Flight team is the newest defense team, and they're good. And the reason why I don't think Doom, Dorm, Undying will work here is because of that safeguard. It's because the Apocalypse Punch is like the only way to get by a very beefy Sasquatch in this regard. If he has safeguard, the Infinity Watch problem, right? As soon as safeguard is involved, it changes the game. It really does. Like, if Doom had brought Dorm for the ride, cool, Dorm's gonna do some unavoidable attacks. He's hitting into defense up, safeguard, death proof on a bunch of new tunes and new stats. He's not gonna really make a dent in them, which is why I do think you need to overkill this team if you're gonna hybridize it. But there is a team that they just sold us that is gonna be like an auto win. So let's just go watch that just for posterity's sake. All right, so the Mercs of the Mouth team. This is a 600k punch up because we no longer have a character like Apocalypse that is inflating the power levels, right? Because this is, again, this is not war practice. This is in a live war setting, and the 20% war ready defensive side is kicking in, and not the 20% war offensive side. So hey, they get safeguarded a bunch of buffs. Let's get safeguarded a bunch of buffs, right? And then we're just going to start popping off. I probably could have put Old Man Logan next to Panda Pool so he gets hit and gets some more turn meter. But Old Man Logan just starts to go and he doesn't stop. With his attacks, Old Man Logan's stupid, right? He's broken, he's busted, unavoidable, freaking everything. Buff flipping everything, energy for days, trauma, like he's a stupidly overpowered character. If he didn't beat this team, I'd be more concerned than anything else. So the assists keep coming in because there's no like Echo on this team. There's no Morgan. Maybe we can start seeing some variations of that, but I haven't really dove into the Alphalite kit to see if they leave room for a plug and play. I imagine they would. So maybe we see like an Apocalypse on this team. Maybe you see a Skrull, maybe Mephisto, maybe Echo, maybe Mercs. Maybe that starts flipping things up. In this video, I'm not going to go into that. I think it's just cool that this team definitely demands a very, very serious counter, whether it be the newest War offensive team with this overpowered legendary that we just got, or a meta character like Apocalypse. This will shake up the War defense. It's not going to flip the meta on its head unless you're really relying on Apocalypse to take care of Spider Society, right? I know a lot of people are doing that to get rid of that on-spawn safeguard. At least I assume people are doing that to get rid of the on-spawn safeguard. Gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough team to beat, but there are built-in answers, and for that reason, I kind of consider Alpha Flight to be a successfully new implemented War defense team. I like it. I like that they're going to be using the Spotlight Raid. Everyone's going to have to build up this team no matter what, because the Spotlight Raid's where you get your T4s. You're going to win 100%. So this team is going to be rampant everywhere from mid-game, early game, to obviously late game. This is going to be a team we're going to have to get used to taking out. As far as, you know, other counters that'll take these guys out in the future, want to keep your eye out for unavoidables, slows, turn meter rewinds. They have to go super fast. And of course, if we get more characters that stop safeguard on spawn, I don't think that'll happen. That'd be a bit extreme. Then we keep our eye out for that too. Anyway, guys, let me know what you are thinking about the Alpha Flight team in the comment sections below. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.